Equality means complete and absolute independence.
It has to have, yeah.
We must be independent.
Yeah.
And again, God creates countries and nations, and not man. There are many ways that nations can emerge. It is always an organic process. We understand that. We respect that. What most commentators don't appreciate about Africa, and which most Africans are a bit slightly uncomfortable with, is that somebody coming from Europe, and without regard for your culture, your traditions, your way of life, saying, you are now in one country and your name is Nigeria.
Right.
There is something unnatural about it.
Yes.
I said to the British government, if you had come, conquered my people, which is a natural human process, that is entirely natural.
Right.
If you had come, conquered our people, made us English, I can live with that.
Yeah.
But to come and hand over a children of God over to something completely alien, this same culture that we have in the north, which is an Islamic culture, tried to take us over many years ago, and they failed. You now came and completed the cycle for them. There is something evil about it.
Yeah, something inorganic about it.
Inorganic.
Yeah.
Very, very inorganic. And you cannot. We don't talk about economic development, because before you talk about economy, you talk about things like policies, both macro and micro, the rest of it. You are dealing with people who cannot differentiate between macro and micro.
No, absolutely.
That's
right.
a problem.
Yeah. Education is key for the world outside Biafra, and that's where this starts. The political has to start in the education.
That's correct.
When you speak to people in the UK, people in the US, is there an openness to independence for Biafra?
No, there isn't. It's what you get is very condescending, wishy-washy. These are black Africans. Really, what do they know? Sort of attitude. We know best than they do, and we try as much as possible to enlighten and educate the American and, by extension, the European audience to the fact that before you had freedom and liberty in any part of the world, in Biafra land we had freedom and liberty. Before you had political asylum in any other part of the world, where I come from, there was political asylum being granted to people. That is the meaning of Biafra anyway. Come and join if you believe in our value system. We had a series of both political, legal, and legislative structures that endured for thousands of years. These were unceremoniously swept away in the name of, I don't know, civilization or advancement.
Right.
Therefore, the British must be questioned, or the mentality or the psyche of Europeans and, by extension, Americans must be put to the test to explain, to rationalize why the emergence of states in Africa cannot be allowed to adopt the same organic route by which every other civilized nation emerged. Why is that impossible? That's what I ask Americans and Europeans.
And their answers are not good. There are no answers.
Yeah. They don't have any answers to it. All they say is that, why didn't you just get on with it? I want the same things that you have in America. I want liberty. I want freedom. I want all the rest of it. That is what makes you a human being, or as an animal. And being forced to live in cages in Africa, or being forced to live more or less like animals, is not a situation we are prepared to tolerate for very long.
No.
Death is better.
Have there been armed clashes between Biafrans and Boko Haram? Has there been a defense of Biafrans?
No, not at all, because we are not allowed to defend ourselves. They can kill us. They can get arms flowing in from Lebanon, from Iran, from Saudi Arabia. There are jihadists coming from all over the place, coming in there. There was a plane load of arms that came in, was detained at the airport from Egypt. The Arab world, that is what drives me insane. The Arab world and the Islamic world are busy supporting Boko Haram in their stated aim of spreading Islam to Christians in Nigeria, the Christian world are not reciprocating. They're not coming to our rescue. I don't know how you can defend yourself against somebody who is armed with RPGs, armed with AK-47s. I don't know if you do that through prayer and fasting. I do not know.
Right.
But that is the sort of condition we're faced with. In other words, as we speak right now, the process of Islamization is gathering momentum and no one is doing anything.
Right. It's medieval. It's you will convert or you will die.
They crucified some people, was it 2 days ago? I think we've got the pictures on Facebook.
They actually
crucified some people.
They actually crucified.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. There's something ISIS is doing that they are doing that you either convert or we kill you. And I don't know why the world expects us to deal with that. It's either there's something going on. It's either everyone else is a Muslim. That's why I say sometimes that everyone in the West is a Muslim. That's what I say, because you couldn't possibly keep quiet when such a thing is going on.
No.
It's terrible.
No.
Terrible.
You're opening my eyes in ways I knew this was going to be eye-opening. I did not realize what is happening. Who is Boko Haram organically? Are they a government creation? Are they...
Boko Haram is, you need to understand the geopolitics of Nigeria to then start comprehending the concept or the ideology that drives the insanity that is Boko Haram. In the north, you have the areas you call the Mohammedan Emirates of the North. Mm-hmm. These are people who are predominantly, by ancient culture and tradition, Islamic. They are Hausa, Fulani people. In the west, coming down near Lagos, you have the Yoruba people, and in the east you have the Biafran people. Now, the Hausa Fulani people, we are told by the British that they have the right to rule in perpetuity Nigeria. The British in 1953 and 57 were involved in a massive fraud to rig the census results. In other words, they skewed the numbers to always favor the Hausa Fulani people that they may remain in power. And the reason for that is that the British is scared that Biafran people, especially the Igbos, are somehow human, that we can think properly.
Yeah.
And we have the oil. The oil wells, the reserves, everything is where we come from.
In Biafra.
And the British couldn't retain or sustain their colonial presence in Africa because the USA asked them to leave. So what they now did is to take the control of the oil, hand it over to a group of people they think they can manipulate very easily. That's all. That's what has happened. And now they now believe that they have the right to rule. Unfortunately for them, President Goodluck Jonathan, the incumbent, emerged out of circumstances that could be described as somehow mysterious. He came up as the president, and now they don't like it. 3 people funded Boko Haram: the ex-president, head of state Buhari, another ex-head of state, Hausa Fulani Islamic person called Babangida, another vice president, Atiku Abubakar. They consciously went out to fund Boko Haram because Buhari said after Jonathan won the 2011 elections that I will make the country ungovernable. He said it openly. Oh. And they went ahead to do it by killing poor, defenseless Biafran Christians, because they know that Christians around the world will not come to our rescue.
Yeah.
They also know that no other people will come to our rescue because they don't want us to emerge as a people. That's the problem.
Yeah. So the British don't want you to emerge as a people.
No.
Aha.
That's a problem.
It's a huge problem.
Massive. But this time around, whether they like it or not, I'm sure the British didn't want the USA to emerge either.
No.
Whether they like it or not, we shall emerge.
Yeah.
Or everything else there will die.
It'll have to. I mean,
yes.
It's one or the other at this point.
One thing has to happen. Either we have Biafra or we all die. There's no going back this time around. There'll be no exile, no running away. That is our land. We've lived there for thousands of years. That's where we were born. That's where we will die.
Yeah. Are you all willing to go back and be there?
At the drop of a heart, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a heartbeat.
Yeah.
We'll go there.
And obviously loved ones are there. And
they're there. My parents are there.
Yeah.
My loved ones are there.
Yeah.
And it's a land we've been in for, as I said,
thousands of years. And a history and a rich culture and a vibrant way of life that has literally been
obliterated.
Yeah.
You go to the book of Leviticus. 80% of what you have in the book of Leviticus occurs where I come from. 80%. 80%.
The Levitical law.
Everything. It wasn't us. I strongly believe, this is my hypothesis. Of course, I hold on to it very strongly. As soon as the British discovered in the late 18th century, because the same Hausa Fulani people in Zamfara told them, I think I have the map somewhere in London, that across that river lies what they believe to be part of the lost tribe of Israel. All hell broke loose. Yeah. There was then a very systematic and deliberate policy to obliterate our history. The British first said that the Igbos don't have any history. First of all, they removed the name Biafra, which was exactly the name they used to go into treaties with us. You see there clearly written, the chiefs of Ishekiri and Biafra. They then quietly took that away to now only take a component of that, one clan alone, which is Igbo. Because in Biafra you have the Idoma, you have the Igbo, you have the Bibio, you have the Efik, you have the Izon people, which they call Ijo, you have the Shekiri, you have the Robo, and some parts of Igala.
Wow.
These are the 7 people that make up, these are the 7 tribes that make up Biafra land. The British came, then isolated all the rest, those of our cousins around us, and focused their attention on us. But there's one good thing about it, is that in their amalgamation document that they produced in 1904 or thereabout, which I still have, they made reference, the very first time a European is referring to an African race as great. Yes, the man said the great Igbo race across the Niger. And that speaks volumes.
And the Niger's the river.
The river.
So Nigeria is taken from just drawing lines on the map from the river.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's the name. I mean, the name is Nigeria, named after a river. Before that was the Royal Niger Company, which is a British company,
right,
which by royal charter was running the whole place. And then from there, incrementally, I have all the paperwork.
Yeah.
So they signed. At no time did we give the British the consent to form a country called Nigeria. At no time in our history. I have all the paperwork. We gave them our land to trade.
Right.
That's all. But they went ahead and gradually decided to form a country. Despised us so much that they handed us over to Hausa Fulani Islamic Caliphate. And now they're killing us and nobody's coming to our rescue, which I think is very sad.
If we come to the rescue, how are we coming?
We need support from USA, from United States government, from the Christian community in the USA, and more importantly also from the Jewish community in the USA. They did something, in fairness to them, in 1968, 69, 70. The Jewish Congress in the USA did something. They tried to lobby the US government and Congress to do something about Biafra. From these 3 groups, we expect a lot to come from them to pressure the Obama administration to support what we are doing, to make sure that Biafra comes to exist. Biafra is the only natural ally that USA will ever have in Africa.
In Africa, yeah.
Natural. We are never going to bomb USA, are we? We can come here to work for you. We're never going to kill you. That's number 1.
Yeah.
We are very, very loyal, hardworking, and friendly people. Go and ask anyone, they will tell you. And I see no reason why a people that believe in the irreducibility of an individual that believes in liberty, that believes in equality and in freedom, the same creed, the same ideals upon which this very great nation, USA, was founded upon. Why would you not naturally gravitate towards those people? I can't understand it.
Right.
And if you want to stop the menace of Boko Haram, they should support the creation of Biafra.
Absolutely.
That's all they need to do. We don't want them to do anything. Just come at the UN or make a press statement in the White House by saying that the people of Biafra, their suffering is intolerable. We may have to revisit the issue of them still belonging to one Nigeria. That's what they need to say. That's all.
And it would change.
It's done.
Yeah.
It's a game changer. It's finished.
Yeah. Wow.
We don't need U.S. troops to come.
No.
We are more than capable. We held out for 3 years.
Yeah.
Against the combined minds of Britain, USSR, and the entire Arab world.
Yeah.
For 3 years. So we can deal with them. Trust me, we can. We can.
And do they want that? Does Boko Haram want that? Do they want that violent end?
They do. And sometimes in life, you need to confront them violently.
Yeah.
Or else it will continue to fester.
Yeah.
We must meet them.
And that's hard as Christians.
Yes.
That's hard.
Very, very hard, because we don't take life where we come from.
No.
In other cultures and religion and language, you call another person a human being or a person. Where we come from, we say matter, which means the beauty of life. So you are forbidden from killing anybody.
Yeah.
You don't kill somebody, because that is the embodiment of God's creation. A person is known as matter. Matter means beauty of life. So you don't take life. So it's very hard for us.
Yeah. But you've been pushed.
No, we are being killed.
Yeah.
Killed.
Not pushed, killed.
Not pushed. We are being killed.
Let me ask a couple.
Sure.
I'll sit down here too. Christians, by and large, seem to be oriented towards individual faith, and they seem to be reluctant to face the fact that at times war is necessary. Yes. They call the concept of a holy war being something that you have to struggle with. How have you looked at that? How do you take your faith and the need to sometimes go to war? How does that work for you? How have you? Because you're a very thoughtful man, and I know you've had to look at these issues and defend it.
Yes, the thing is this: my faith taught me to value life, to try to live by the same tenets that have been preached over the years, as contained in the Bible. But there comes a time when self-preservation takes precedence over and above whatever we may think suits us individually. Because by going to war, we are seeking to preserve, in our case, the children of God. If you do nothing, you become extinct. And there will be no one left to worship God, will there? Where we come from. So the best thing for us to do is to try as much as possible to reason or come to some level of agreement or accommodation with our adversaries, which has failed so far. The only alternative left for us is to go and meet them wherever we can find them. And we don't have any difficulties, because the reason why you have the U.S. Army is to preserve the ideals upon which this country is founded upon. Even your own body has its own defense immune system, isn't it? Without it, the human body will perish. Everywhere you go to, even in heaven, you have angels with their swords guarding the gates of heaven, against the forces of darkness and of hell. So even if you extrapolate the argument and take it away into the natural world, where nature rather than reason obtains, you will still see the same phenomenon and forces at play, that there is need for you to defend yourself.
I have another question, and that is, certainly our founding fathers had to struggle with that very issue. Is it related to England? They had a strong faith, different faiths, possibly, but they had to come up with a Declaration of Independence. You are the vocal person that has really brought together Radio Biafra. What are the coalitions you have? Do you find that you have How would you write your Declaration of Independence? What would be included within that? What are the values? Would there be religious freedom for other people who have a different point of view?
Yes, there will be religious freedom. We've had it before. By our very nature, by our name, Biafra means come and join.
Aha.
That's the meaning of it.
Yeah.
Everybody, including the Sultan of Sokoto, can seek asylum in Biafra. We respect him and will allow him to come in. It's in our nature. That's how we are. From childhood, your thoughts. If your mom is beating you up or whatever, or chastises you a lot, you just run to the next person. All you need to do is to hold them very tightly, and your mom or your dad will never touch you. We've always had it. So tolerance is interwoven in our essence, in our being. Freedom, freedom, freedom. In every way you can imagine it. There is a name, there's something we say will come from Onyenachia, means I can never judge you, it's between you and your God. So that tells you.
Absolutely.
We are the original architects of freedom, and the British will attest to that.
Yeah.
We never had any theocracy, no dictatorship, no kings, nothing for thousands of years. We are not about to start now.
For the first time, I think America, in the face of ISIS going into Syria and Iraq, has opened our eyes to the reality of the desire for a caliphate. We think of that now in terms of the Middle East, but Africa has been facing that for a long time. Talk to us about a little bit about the mission that the Islamic jihadists have within Africa to control all of Africa.
And to dovetail on that, it's because this tolerance and this freedom that Americans feel, that you feel, Boko Haram does not feel.
They don't.
And ISIS does not feel. And as near as I can tell, Islam does not feel. I'm not a judge of Islam. I don't know.
I will judge them because you don't live with them.
No.
I do.
Yeah.
So I can judge them.
Okay.
The fact of the matter is this. If you go back to the statements made by the man that brought this virulent form of Islam into Nigeria, made Othman Danfodio, from Othman Danfodio to Ahmadu Bello, the son, and right up until this very moment, there's been one common theme running through everything they have said, their ideology, their philosophy, their thinking, their way of life, which is to propagate violent Islam all the way to the ocean. There's something you must know. That work has continued unabated. Biafra is the only piece of unconquered Islamic territory in West Africa, and they are seeking to take it. They vowed to take Biafra. Is on tape, which we will supply you with. So you can see what these people are saying. When you bomb Afghanistan, when USA bombs Afghanistan, they kill us in Nigeria. When there is a cartoon of Prophet Muhammad, they kill us. Every blessed day we are dying. We live with the reality. The slow march of Islam has been ceaseless from time, encouraged by the British. Encouraged by the British. Whatever they have been. The British government, you may wish to know, has never supported the independence of any Christian country in the world since the beginning of time. But they have always consciously and studiously supported the emergence of an independent Islamic caliphate.
Yeah.
Lawrence of Arabia.
One of the criticisms that could come your way, or at least questions that could come your way, and that is Biafra does have control of the principal oil within Nigeria, were it to be formed under the present situation.
That is correct, yes.
That is a major obstacle, I would imagine, for people who are frightened of the fact that if you do gain control, they will lose the opportunity of having access to that. How do you approach, as an independent Biafra, the issues that are around the oil, around criticisms, and the resistance that will happen to your independence on the basis of that resource alone?
The resource, we believe in development, which means the oil will have to be sold to our friends and to our partners, and in return, I'm an economist myself, in return we get vital foreign exchange with which, or foreign reserves with which to try and develop other aspects of the economy. We believe in what investment. We would like companies from countries that are friendly and supportive of Biafra to come in to invest in Biafra. We want investment. We don't want to be like Saudi Arabia, you sell oil and you buy everything else. No,
Right.
We want tangible, concrete investments to come in. We are not going to drink the oil. It's a natural resource. We need to give it to the economies of our friends to keep growing, because a very healthy U.S. economy or a very healthy EU economy is also going to be beneficial to Biafra land. So we can find export markets for our goods and services. We are like that. I mean, we're not, we understand the intricacies of world economy and the need to make available to the international market your resources to continue to fuel human development. So, it is not a problem. Our oil fields and that very sector will be open to our friends, and only to our friends. You can't expect not to help us and then eventually we let you in. It's not going to work that way. But if you help us, of course, it's there for all to have access to. We've gone on record to say that oil is not our problem. All we want is freedom. Oil is not the issue. The issue is freedom. Once we have freedom and a semblance of dignity, then we can exist as human beings, because right now I don't see myself as a human being. A monkey is better than me because I don't have freedom.
One of the things that it's always impressed me, the more I've come to know about your country's history, is the productivity of your people through the ages. You have been, and now many of them who have left Nigeria are all over the world, being productive, hoping that this would happen. I know when Israel eventually became its own country, there was a homecoming and probably millions of people going to their homeland again. Is that part of your vision? Tell us a little bit about your vision for the future.
They will come back, including some of you from the USA as well. That will be the most natural home for African American people. It will be natural. That will be very, very natural for them to come to, because if you look at the map of Biafra, which is right here in front of us, you will see that the rising sun is cleverly positioned on the black strip of the flag, which means that we bring light where there is darkness. That's what we do. Everybody will run open doors, not just for Biafrans, but also for African Americans that have not been able to connect with Africa for very many centuries. They can come back and become a part of it. Because mind you, most of the people that were taken away from Africa to come to work in the plantations of the USA came from the Bight of Biafra. This is where we come from. We open our doors for them to try and come back in. Everybody is welcome to come back, to be there.
One of the things they talk about in the Middle East is that none of the countries there outside of Israel pass the public square test. And the public square test is that you can stand on the corner of a street and be critical of their government and their religion and survive. It seems to me this is a stand for freedom and for liberty.
Yes.
And your focus on liberty is a very important part of what drives you.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about your own journey. I mean, you have gone through beatings. I understand you've been in
everything. I've been stripped naked and everything. For my faith.
Because talk to us a little bit about your journey, because it has been a personal one where you continue to be a voice for Biafra.
Yes. It started very many years ago. I was educated in England. I went to school in London, and upon graduation, I decided to serve my people, because I didn't like what was going on. We have a group of friends, about 6 of us from Africa. We said when we graduate, we pick one tiny African country and go there and try and develop it. Very, very thoughtful and quite progressive of us. And upon graduation, the rest got very blue chip jobs and developed cold feet. I decided to carry on with it, because I felt that the only thing that makes you human is your ability to reason. And as an African, as somebody from Biafra land, unless my land reflects what I believe I possess up here, then have not made any telling or meaningful contribution to the advancement of mankind. So I decided to plug ahead with it. I went home initially to try and see what we can do to start a revolution on the ground, because the existing order is essentially irredeemably corrupt, as you well know. So we started it, and it didn't quite go very well. I came back to the UK, reassembled, and went back again. We met a few people. We started Radio Biafra, and we started preaching the truth in 2009. And some people were uncomfortable with it. And when I traveled home for a private family ceremony, I was kidnapped. I was beaten. I was tortured. I had people spit at me. Some urinated and poured it at me. And for speaking the truth, for telling them that the way they were doing things weren't proper. That wasn't enough. I was arrested before then at Murtala Mohammed Airport. I was detained for 8 days solitary confinement at the SSS headquarters because I was preaching Biafra, had some Biafra materials on me. And after that, I was transferred to Abuja under military escort, a 5-car convoy. I was detained for 3 months, solitary confinement again. And there I met the coup plotters from Equatorial Guinea, Mark Thatcher, or the rest of them. And actually, I think the reason why God sent me there was because to save the lives of those people, I believe. Because had I not gone in there, they would have been killed. But as soon as I came out, I told Amnesty International what was going on, and then they started to sort of fight for them to be released and stuff. So I came, and then I struggled again to start Radio Biafra. People weren't forthcoming. I became homeless in England as a result of it because I was investing so much in broadcasting on shortwave, which is it's very prohibitively expensive. And then we continued, went on to the internet, that our budget could carry us, and then now we're on satellite. So, and it's been relentless, because one thing is, if you're doing the right thing, which I believe we're doing, you continue doing it until at a time when the world will then come to the realization that what you're saying is true, because the suffering has continued, the killings, the death, the deprivation, the deportation. I'm not sure you know that you deport people. Do you know you can deport somebody from a part of Nigeria to another?
How do you do that?
By forcibly removing them from the streets, locking them up somewhere, putting them in a vehicle, and then transporting them to wherever you want them to go to.
Americans have seen, quote, the Arab Spring actually create more chaos in Africa and the Middle East. It is unchained even worse conditions, as Phil said. Now you're talking almost like a Christian spring. What's different about your approach? How do you move from talking about it on Radio Biafra to actually having it happen? You mentioned, a couple of statements by the government of the United States would help in the UN, those kinds of things. But tell me, how does that move? What's it different? How's it different?
That's what people are waiting for, because people keep asking us all the time, what is the U.S. government stance on what we are agitating for or talking about? What is the UN saying? That's what they want to hear.
Right.
What does America think? And the UN. So for us, that is the trigger. That is the catalyst that will solve a lot of problems. And the world must be able to rise up and be very mature about it, to say to themselves that in Africa, actually, we do have human beings who can reason properly and not try to be as condescending as they've been all this while, or to...
For years.
I mean, there seems to be this very funny thing that self-awareness or criticism works in the West, but you, as a black person from Africa, you're not allowed to criticize yourself or something. I don't believe in that. I believe in being self-critical. If I've done something wrong, I believe in appraising myself. How we're going to do it is very simple. The American public is also very critical in this. If the American public can give us their support, that would then spur us on to go back to our people and to say the government may not be listening, but the people that own America are listening, and we can work with them. That will then give them the impetus to go ahead and rightfully possess what belongs to them. Because one thing we're not going to have, which is what we're making it very clear to the world, is this. the status quo can't continue. I'm afraid it cannot continue. It can't. And in terms of controlling the outcome, the aftermath of any kind of spring that may result is that you always look at the value system of a people. That is the determinant. That determines the outcome. Those of them that believe in unwavering Sharia Islam, you always know that you cannot have a democracy, liberty, or freedom under Islamic rule. It's there in the Quran if we bother to read it. It's there. It can never happen. And then you have Biafrans on the other end of the spectrum that believes in libertarian values, not just liberty. We are libertarians to the extreme. When you grow up where we come from, you migrate a few miles away from your father's house so that your parents would even have to disturb you. You go there and grow your own family all by yourself. We come from a country where if you're born a male child, automatically, by right of nature, one day you will become a landlord. You will have a piece of land upon which to build. Irreducible. It never changes. Therefore, in our bones, not just in the blood, we have the DNA of freedom implanted in it. All these things changed, and we're trying to go back to it. So we can never, the excesses of what happens when you have a new African country won't apply in our case, because frankly we're not like them.
Right.
Can never be.
Yeah.
We are different.
And doing so, as you say, is part of what Americans, what Westerners would refer to as seed planting, as putting a Christian, economically cooperative people in a place where we've really not had that.
Exactly. And not only that, I travel across the stretch of Africa. I travel from Gabon all the way to Gambia.
Oh my.
All the time. And it would please me to see Americans, all these my people here, bring down their friends to come home on holidays to say, these are my friends, I brought them from the USA and all the rest for us to enjoy. You can't do that anymore, can you? Because you're afraid of kidnappings and all the rest of it, all these social vices and ills. The best thing that America can ever do in terms of its foreign policy is to support the emergence of Biafra. Ever. Because, as you quite rightly pointed out, from Biafra, America can always use Biafra as an example. The same way that Israel is used as an example in the Middle East. Isn't it very funny that Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East where you can vote, you can actually stand on the street corner and criticize anybody you like.
Including the Israelis.
And nothing happens to you.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Nothing. I said to people that criticism can only make you get better. It won't kill you.
No.
It won't kill you. It does nothing to you. Somebody saying, oh, you're stupid, you're this. Tell me what you're doing with our money, our taxes. It's for you to stand there and explain.
Yeah.
That is why we run Radio Biafra the way we do. So that when we graduate from here into proper governance, by the grace of God, you can be able to stand up and defend your record before the people.
Yeah.
That is how America became the strongest country in the world. Not by doing things in the secret. No. I said this is something I used to say to them all the time. Never be afraid of openness. After all, the greatest country in the world does all their inquiries in the open. Is it the Iraq gate?
Yeah.
Is it the Watergate issue?
Yeah.
Everything is in the open. Did it weaken the presidency? The answer is no, it made them stronger.
If you had one more thing to say to the people, either on video or in reports, or what would you want to say to Americans here who do value freedom and will want to hear what you have to say?
To those Americans here that value freedom and believe in it, it is also their duty to protect freedom wherever they can, to protect people defending the ideals upon which the USA is founded upon. Very, very critical. It is no use saying I'm an American, things works here for me, because in a not too distant future won't work anymore. You can't travel to London because ISIS will be there. I can show you.
Yeah.
Now, it is the duty of America. I mean, the world is at a crossroads right now. As I said earlier during my opening statement, the battle between good and evil, light versus darkness. Yeah. So it is either you stand in faith with what you know to be correct than for you to be cowed by, I cannot put it, by what you perceive to be the overwhelming preponderance of the forces of darkness. And because of that, you cower into a corner because they're going to come after you. So the disease in your body, if you leave it, it keeps festering. You must confront it.
London was a revelation to me for that very reason. More Islamic people than I had ever experienced in one place, including all over Austria, Hungary, where I was. And there were some there, but London was and there was a protest the day that we were there, and we were walking by Westminster Abbey, and the protest was gigantic, and it was Gazans protesting against Israel, and they were being protected by the UK police, and as is their right to free speech. But one of the signs read "Britain accomplice to murder," and it didn't dawn on me until what you've just said how ironically true that statement is.
It is true.
What they have supported will come to bite them.
That's what I tell them all the time, that the British made a monumental mistake by supporting the death of 3.5 million of my people. The worst mistake ever made. They will come after them and they will kill them. You mark my words, somewhere the British Isles will be overrun by Islam. Yeah. Because they are there already. Do you know that they don't pay for their parking tickets?
Yes.
Do you know that?
I knew. I
Muslim number one name in the UK for a child is Muhammad.
That's correct.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yes. Go and have a look at it. It is there. So the UK government and her people supported the emergence of Bosnia-Herzegovina from a predominantly Christian Orthodox Serbia and before that Yugoslavia. They supported the emergence of Albania, also Muslim. And what's the other one again? There's Albania, there's Kosovo as well.
And the US did too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They supported the freedoms of all the Arab countries away from the Ottoman Empire, Lawrence of Arabia or the rest of it. The British occupied Palestine and refused the right of passage. I read Leon Uris's book, Exodus. I don't know if you've ever read it before. I read it. How they refused Exodus to dock. I think it was in Haifa also, by the British garrison there, saying no to them, but they can't come in. But you can quite easily go to the same Bible that you read all the time and see who owns the land. They can see it very clearly. Because there is something about humanity, I would say, that baffles me. You have before you all the available facts and evidence, and you consciously choose to ignore it. There's something wrong with that person. And also the British did. So it doesn't really surprise me at all. And I've said to them before that you have something against the children of God. Said to the British people. Of course they did. In Israel, they didn't want to go away. The British officers were within the Jordanian. In fact, the entire officer class of the Jordanian army that fought the Israel in the War of Independence, where people didn't know this, was staffed by British officers.
Really?
Yes, go and have a look. Go and have a look. The Jordanian army, go and have a look. They still lost. Anyway, now, the fact remains that we must be bold enough. America is the last bastion of hope. That is why sometimes Obama's administration, I wonder. I don't know what's going on.
I do too.
We must stand up and for some time, do away with I can't stand political correctness. Do away with it for some minutes and face the hard reality. If somebody has a problem that requires invasive surgery, you cut them open to get at the problem and then resolve it.
Right.
There is no need applying ointment or trying to be very nice to them when people are festering and dying on the inside. That is what he has to do. He needs to be decisive. The support for Israel is critical. It is critical. There is no way you can use human shield or launch attacks against a sovereign nation from the comfort of a, children's classroom and don't expect some measure of reprisal. When the Japanese attacked America, America responded. When Hitler attacked Britain Churchill responded, "You never allowed tyranny or terror to prevail. Why must other people be allowed to live under that? It's not possible. If you don't help us, we all sink in this one big gigantic cauldron of deceit and lies
and darkness.
And darkness, of course. Very important.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. What an eye-opening experience.
Thank you.
And you will see pig milk. Pig. Some of us were raised on pig milk. For how many years now? And you keep asking yourself, what is pig milk? Pig milk is mineral, the same milk that the cows produce in Holland can be produced in the zoo. Tell me the country in the world aspiring to be a member of the UN Security Council where you move cattle from place to place. Are you people well at all? You so-called Nigerians, are you normal in the brain? I'm asking you a simple question. Show me a country that aspires to be in the 21st century, moving cattle from place to place, telling me they're grazing. Which country is that? Please tell me. All of you don't have any shame. When you have people, an entire presidency coming out to defend a very primitive, archaic agricultural practice, then you know you embrace serious mess. You are in one almighty trouble, I'm telling you. You people are in a mess. The Holland that you get your pig milk from, do they move cattle from Rotterdam to Amsterdam? I'm asking you a simple question. But they produce the pig milk that you're drinking every blessed day. Why can't Fulani produce pig milk in Sokoto? Why can't they produce carnation milk in Kanu? They have the cattle. Before the white man came, did you see any Fulani in your forest? All these people talking rubbish about movement of cattle and movement of... I'm asking you, before Britain came and handed over Nigeria to Fulani, ask your grandfathers, please, or your grandmothers. Ask them. All this nonsense we are hearing today in this so-called one, I want to tell you the dangers of one Nigeria. All this nonsense you're hearing today about one Nigeria, Fulani in our forest, Fulani in our village. Before the white man came, did you see Fulani moving their cattle all over the place? Did we not have meat to eat? They will answer these questions for you. Because sometimes in Africa, we don't reason very well. The way we reason is this jaundiced, it is disjointed. I can't understand for the life of me why instead of them to waste all that money arming and equipping this Janjaweed army Mihetiala to come and conquer you and I, why don't they open a milk factory somewhere in the north and bring the milk down south? I'm sure southerners will buy it. After all, pig milk comes all the way from Holland. Pig milk all the way from Holland. Now you understand it. Because of the way you people reason. Why can't you produce? Is it difficult to produce milk? The same milk that comes out naturally from the udder of the cow. Why can't you can it somewhere, pasteurize it, and send it to people to eat, to drink, or to do whatever with? All over the world, that is what is happening. In fact, they produce so much milk in Europe that they pour it away. Why can't you do the same thing? A whole president claiming they are in the 21st century are supporting a very primitive practice of moving cattle from place to... All of you, you're not ashamed of yourselves. You have no shame. As somebody will say, your shame is shaming me. I'm telling you, you people from the zoo, I'm ashamed of your ignorance and stupidity. You people are hopeless, completely hopeless. One day now, one idiot to come and say, we are intellectuals. And you're moving cattle from Kafanchan to Ahoda. You are intellectuals. You are intellectualizing. You are in the 21st century. You are moving cattle, driving cattle, Nama, from over 300 miles. It's claiming Yoruba forest is a place for you to be in. You want to relax Yoruba forest. Every Nigerian is free to live anywhere. And do their business anywhere, yes. But when an Igbo man tries to sell beer in Kanu, you destroy it. You destroy their businesses, you destroy their hotels, but you can come down to the south and live anywhere you like and grace anywhere you like. And you're telling me that is a country, that is one Nigeria for you? The Fulanis we are talking, they call them the Funa movement. Our attention has been drawn to a decree credited to one Rotimi Akeredolu, asking Fulani people who have occupied some forests in Ondo State to quit. We are also aware of another incident in Oyo State where an illiterate political talk gave quit notice to Fulani people to leave their territories, which are now their irreversible homes. Are you listening? Fulani are now saying that Yoruba forest is now their irreversible homes. They have now occupied Yoruba land in perpetuity. And I want to let my Yoruba friends understand this. You see, in life, anytime you support evil, evil will come back to haunt you. All of you never knew that IPOB and this Biafra movement was for your liberation. Some of you saw maybe the oil and gas from Biafra land. If they go now, we'll have access to oil and gas. In the process of having your eyes fixated on oil and gas, your forest is gone. Do you understand it? There is nothing more precious in life than freedom. Freedom is very important. And I need you to understand this very morning. Every Yoruba person supporting Fulani, you are setting up yourself to become like the Hausa people. Remember when Hausa was supporting Fulani? We are Hausa Fulani, we are Hausa Fulani. Where are the Hausa people today? I ask you. Where are those Hausa people today? Do you see them anymore? Those saying we are Hausa Fulani, we are Hausa Fulani. Do you see them again today? Do you see them? I'm asking you. No, because Fulani have completely overwhelmed them. It's called emasculation. Completely emasculated them. Look at what they did in the East. In the East, they come to the East, I will tell you, oh, you want to be the president or vice? Yeah. They say, give us land for Ruga. They give them land. I saw just Okado did that law Banta. They have taken it over in forever and ever. Give us land in your state. Hope of them prove to us that you are stood. Give us land in Olo. Hope of them will give them land in Olo. We can go and kill people in Obibo. We can kill for them. How many Fulani governors are prepared to kill bandits? I didn't say normal people. I'm talking about armed, dangerous bandits. How many Fulani governors? Go and read your newspapers, you will see it there. Fulani governors are negotiating with them, giving them arms, giving them vehicles, making sure that their life is no longer a misery. But they come down to the south. They tell you, give us land for Ruga. Go and kill your people to prove to us that you're one Nigerian. That was why Obi also was talking rubbish. Was talking yesterday or 2 days ago. Supported by the BBC. The problem you people have in Nigeria is this. Your journalists, you see people, Punch newspaper, Tribune, Vanguard, and Nation, they are your second worst enemies. I'm telling you the truth. They can never ever be objective in their reportage. Never, ever, ever. That's why all of you are suffering. But you don't know it. They were the same people used to scuttle the NSAS protest. Of course, some of you went about looking for Indomie in warehouses. Typical black people. Any revolution that is coming now, you must stand very firm. They'll say, oh, you're Igbo. Oh, you're Yoruba. Oh, you are from Europe. Don't join them. It's our turn in 2023. If you do this, you will scuttle our chances of becoming the president in 2023. Ask yourself, all of them that have been president from time immemorial, what benefit has it brought to you as a human being? Absolutely nothing. So you have nothing to lose. Absolutely nothing to lose. You look at them now, how they have now descended on Yoruba people, asking them to concede, give us your forest, we must graze, we must do this, we must do that. And slowly before your eyes, they are giving in, they are capitulating, they are allowing them to go, if you don't give it to us, so Tinubu will not be president in 2023. Tinubu won't be the president. That's what I'm saying to you. And foolishly you will agree and hand over your land to them. And once they take your land over from you, look at Hausa. Because there is a saying where we come from. If you want to know what your life is going to become in the future, look at Hausa people. If you want to understand nor appreciate, I will say, the life that you are about to bequeath to your children and grandchildren, look at Hausa people. Is there any Hausa governor today? Is there any Hausa emir? Is there land though? Katsina is Hausa land. Kanu is Hausa land. Sokoto is Hausa land. Hausa people own it, indigenous to those areas. I'm asking you this question. Is there any Hausa man who's an emir in the north? The answer is no. Something's going to happen to you. If you don't rise up now to break, I'm not even asking people to break this, you demand for what rightfully belongs to you, your freedom. The freedom to decide. The freedom to write a constitution if you prefer. The freedom to live with whoever you want to live with. That is what we're asking for. But most people misunderstood what we are saying. And today, almost everything we have said about the zoo has come to pass. Everything we have told you, everything I told you has come to pass, hasn't it? Everything. And some people are still questioning and arguing. They said, Fulani will resist by all means necessary, including armed resistance, any attempt to forcefully eject them from the forest. Yoruba, you must ask yourself this question. When we were pursuing them from Ebonyi, why didn't they say something about ESN or NNAMDI KANU? Why? Have you asked yourself that question? Because they know we are prepared to die to defend our land. They understand that very well. That is the only language the Fulani understand. You cannot say to Fulani, oh, let us have a Fulani president, and after that all will be well. Never, ever, ever. They will continue to expand. They will continue to identify idiots in your midst, traitors, saboteurs in your midst. They will promise them heaven and earth. They will give them anything they ask for in order to ensure that they get into you, they subjugate you. Look at Yoruba and Ilorin. Yoruba, how did you lose Ilorin? You lost Ilorin because somebody thought or felt that by aligning himself with what he felt was a superior Fulani force, he can defeat his own people. Afonja, what happened? As a result of that miscalculation, the great Yoruba race lost Ilorin to Fulani Caliphate. That is why in Ilorin you have an emir of Ilorin, not an Oba of Ilorin, answerable to Sokoto. That is where Lai Muhammad comes from. You can see them. Sokoto slaves in Yoruba land. When I say that, it's not religion. It has nothing to do with religion. It has everything to do with the mentality of a conquered people. Now they have left Ilorin, having taken Ilorin and taken it to Sokoto. They now want to come into Oyo. They want to come into Ondo. Once they take over all those places, it's over for the Yoruba race. Over for you. No, never again will anybody rise a man of honor or integrity in Yoruba land. Never ever. It will only be their stooge. Look at what's happening in the East. Only Fulani stooges can now emerge in the East. It took them very many years, nearly 50 years, to accomplish this very simple task of making sure that everybody, be it Ohanese, be it Pandef, be it governor, anybody you're bringing out must come to the north to swear allegiance to the caliphate. All of them, bar none. Is there any political godfather in the East? There is none. They all go to the north to go and swear allegiance to the Janjaweed. That is why our life is in a mess. That is why they can do something like Obiozo and make him the Ohanese President General. In front of our eyes, in front of Korokoro. And what did they bribe? They gave money to BBC. They gave money to all Zoo newspapers. They started to trumpet Obiozo, Apex Group, Apex. You saw them holding their meeting under a canopy. A ton without shame. A whole Ohanese. Under sand, ton canopy. Maybe you saw it disgraceful and shameful. Talking rubbish. The man looks like a Janjaweed anyway. Talking nonsense. These are people they have prepared for you to sell you down the drain. By the time the Fulanis are done with you, believe you me, if you don't rise up now to fight for your freedom, by the time Fulanis are done with you, you'll be more useless than a Hausa peasant doing Babi Yala somewhere in Zaria. That is the future that awaits you. Now, our people must understand this very clearly, especially my Yoruba brothers and sisters. It is about time you stop supporting evil. That evil is in Asorok. That evil is a gang of reprobates calling themselves presidency. The more you keep on supporting evil in the zoo, the more your land will be taken from you. The more your daughters will be raped and abducted, the more your sons will be slaughtered in cold blood. And under one Nigeria, there is nothing you can do about it. Absolutely nothing. Because one idiot that they groomed will rise up and say to you, oh no, it's one Nigeria, there is crime everywhere. Haven't you heard about Zamfara? Haven't you heard about Katsina? There is crime everywhere. That is not the case. The crimes you have in the north, the insecurity you have in the north is as a direct consequence of their own action. They groomed them. Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb, ISIS in West Africa, Boko Haram, Fulani headsmen, bandits, all of them. Who brought them to Nigeria? It's Fulani. Fulani brought them into Nigeria. El Rufai brought them in. Bauchi State Governor brought them in. Are you people deaf and dumb and stupid? When you come out and you pretend, oh, we are one Nigeria, go and show me. Somebody was asking, where is the boundary, where would the boundary of Biafra begin? And I asked the fool, where did the boundary of Nigeria begin? People from Niger come in and go as they like. Most of these idiots are from Niger. They are building a pipeline to Niger. They are building a railway line to Niger. They are building roads to Niger. Whereas where the money comes from, which is Biafra land, we don't have those infrastructure. No, we don't. But you're taking our money. You come to Izombe, you come to Ohaji, you come to Ebema, you come to Aguleri, you come to Ebonyi. You take our resources, sell it, get the money, and now you're building a way to Niger Republic. And you want me to be happy with you? Clap for you. Oh, Nigeria is doing well. One Nigeria. I think you are insane. You come to my land, you take our oil, you take our gas, you take our manpower, you take everything, our VAT, our tax that we pay. You are now building a road from Katsina to Niger. Airport in Niger. Refinery in Niger. You take oil, crude oil from my land, you take it to Niger, you refine it, you bring it back to me as a refined petroleum. Or as PPS as you call it. And you're telling me that that country is viable. You're telling me that Nigeria should be supported. We are in one Nigeria. We are not going anywhere. And you're dying every day. Because those that they appointed to speak for you, they gave them money and positions. So that they will come out on the pages of newspapers to give the world the misleading impression that everything is okay, when things are not okay. Go through the statements of Ohaneze and see the contradictions in it. Nigeria is not working. We are marginalized. And then you come back and say Nigeria is one. We must stay in it together. Are you not foolish? These are the useless intellectuals that you have. On one hand, you say Nigeria is not working. You're marginalized. You are being discriminated against. You're suffering. They're killing you everywhere. And you come back to the same place and say Nigeria must be one. Had Nigerians gotten together to say they want to be part of this useless contraption, that's entirely their business. I'm a Democrat, I've subscribed to it. But have you asked yourself this question? Why is it that all those asking you to remain in one Nigeria has something to gain from Nigeria, or they have benefited in the past? Nothing more, nothing less. I saw the letter that Atiku Abubakar wrote to President Biden. In it, Atiku Abubakar said to come and help us fight terrorism, in order to ensure that there will be no regional destabilization. That is their game plan at the U.S. State Department for very many years, until we stepped in. They keep trotting out these lies. Once Nigeria breaks up, there will be destabilization in the entire region. I said it because you don't understand African history. Most of these people are not educated. When I say, they say I'm insulting them. No, I'm not insulting you. Most of you are not educated. In Africa, we are tribal creatures in Africa. In Africa, we are tribal creatures in Africa. We always go back to our village where we were born, where our umbilical cord, how long, where it was buried. That's where we come from. That is why every Christmas, Easter, New Year festival, or August meeting, you see us migrating back to where we come from. And I keep saying these things to Africans, they don't understand it. They don't understand it. Everywhere in Africa during Christmas, if you like, be in South Africa, if you like, let it be in Kenya, you let it be in Rwanda, everybody from the capital goes to the village. If you go to Accra, the same thing happens. This past Christmas, if you like, go to Cotonou, go to Yaoundé in Cameroon. Everybody living in the capital cities of Africa, they go back to their villages. They go back to their tribes where they come from. Do they do that in the Western world? During Christmas, these people migrating from, oh, I come from Florida, I'm going to Florida. No, you don't. Because people come from where they are born. We come from where our ancestors were born. That is the difference between black people in Africa and those from Europe and other parts of the world. We come from, so if you ask somebody, where do you come from? He or she will mention their village. That is what makes us Africans. Very, very unique. If you destroy that, you are finished as a people. In Africa, we are tribal. First and foremost, we belong to our tribe where we come from. That is why our people need to appreciate this. Very, very critical. That Africa is restructured to recognize where people come from. All these artificial creations by Europeans, Nigeria, this and that, all that rubbish. That is why you can never ever make any progress for the next 6 billion years. You can never ever make any progress in the zoo. Why is it, if we are not tribal, why would the whole presidency come out, Fulani presidency come out and say, we are defending Fulani headsmen? A presidency of the whole of Nigeria, so to speak. It is because by instinct, we are tribal beings in Africa. That is why Nigeria is unsustainable. That is why the man from Ishekiri has to vote to say, this is where I want to belong to. That is why referendum is the only way forward. That is why Africa is poor. Africans must recognize that this is who we are. You cannot live in Lagos if you're an Igbo man. During Christmas, you start traveling to Sokoto. It's impossible. You must go to Igbo land. You must. That's where you come from. And if they ask you, oh, but you were born in Lagos, you will say, no, that's where my parents come from. They ask your parents will say, that's where my parents come from. They will keep going back until they get to perhaps the 100th generation. That is who we are. And nobody can change it. We are not born on the streets. Some people were born along Ijora or Kota Highway in Lagos. Maybe they are from Urobo. You ask them, where are you from? They say, I'm from Urobo. But I was born in, but this is where I come from. That is who we are. That is why all these useless, idiotic countries created in Africa cannot survive. It can never ever survive. And how do we stop it? Only a revolution can stop it. Only a revolution. If you like, keep postponing it. If you like, keep putting it off forever and ever. Only a revolution can solve this very problem, because under a revolution, the powers that be, those that be making your life a misery, will be overthrown. Nobody will say it's a coup anymore. It is called popular uprising. Don't let anybody deceive you. Don't let anybody deceive you. And that is why today some soldiers are listening and they are resigning from the army. How can you be a soldier in the Nigerian army and your village is being occupied by Fulani headsmen? Imagine those from Oyo or Ondo serving in the Nigerian army. These are my Yoruba brothers who are serving in the Nigerian army. You are from Yoruba, you are serving in the Nigerian army, doing one Nigeria. But your village is being occupied by a Fulani. The same people you are serving, or you claim you are serving, your village is under occupation by them. And to make matters worse, those you are serving under their flag, one Nigeria, and the Arabic inscription, or should I say the motto of Ottoman Danfodio, to tell you how foolish Nigerians are. You don't know that the Nigerian emblem, the army emblem of Nigeria, is the motto of Ottoman Danfodio that he used to conquer Hausa people. You don't know that it is there. That's what they're using. You're fighting under the banner of your conquerors. Maybe in Sambisa forest. And now they are sending their advanced strike force into your village. And you're doing one Nigeria. I'm a Nigerian soldier. I'm a Nigerian army. That is why I commend the 127 soldiers that have resigned so far from the army. If you don't do these things I'm asking you to do, you will, when the time comes, as I'm telling them now, remember 2015, Remember 2014? Remember 2013? I told you all these things. I told you what was going to happen, and now they have all happened before your eyes. You've seen it. I'm warning you now. If you're serving in the Nigerian army, and you think you're loyal to Buratai, you think I'm serving my Nigeria is not a fatherland or motherland to anybody. Nigeria is not a motherland or fatherland to anybody. Nigeria is purely a British creation. A British creation. Because if Nigeria was to be a nation or country, there is no way those that call themselves the presidency Asoro can come out to support illegality in Ondo State. Because they know they are doing it for that. Why do you think they want to avenge and revenge for Sir Ahmadu Bello? Why? They knew that Ahmadu Bello and his people, so to speak, were fighting for them. They understood that. At the time, the Hausa people thought that the Fulani was fighting for them, but today it's very clear. I asked you a simple question when I began. Are you hearing Hausa Fulani anymore? No, it's only Fulani, because they have taken over the entire corner. That is one thing you need to understand. People must begin to appreciate this. If you are in the Nigerian army and you're serving the Nigerian army, you are only paving the way for the conquest of your village, the rape of your daughters, and the abduction of your mothers. I'm telling you this. You are in the Nigerian army, yes. But what the Fulanis have got in store for you is to overwhelm and to conquer you. I feel sorry for those of you who are so foolish that they cannot reason very well. There are people who are, I won't use too much grammar because a lot of people are watching, mothers are watching, grandmothers are watching in the villages. People who out of cowardice and self-hate think that Nigeria somehow can be won. But all of you know that Nigeria is an Islamic country. I'm sure you're aware of that. All of you also understand the intentions of the Fulani. Oh, if you want the presidency, you have to work for it. Tinubu, you must work for it. How is Tinubu working for it? You must condemn anybody who comes out to speak against our people in your forest. That is what they are doing. Some of you don't understand it, but we do. Some of you do not understand what is happening, but we do. And that is why we are here to tell you. The real terrorists in Asoro, they have dropped them. Now presidency is telling you, you cannot touch them. But these are people killing people in Yoruba forest. No, you cannot touch them. A whole presidency to tell you that every Fulani man is in on this. Their foot soldiers are Miyetti Allah. Have you all forgotten that they gave Miyetti Allah 100 billion? Have you all forgotten? No, typical Nigeria, nigger. Have you all forgotten? So you've forgotten that this so-called presidency, Garba Shehu, gave Miyetti Allah 100 billion to come down to the south to give peanuts to useless monarchs and traditional rulers so that our forests can be taken. Have you all forgotten? Oh, you have. Of course, you're in the zoo. You've forgotten. Did they give 100 billion to any other organization? Did Asorok give 100 billion to any other group? Why would a government give 100 billion to a bunch of terrorists and openly claim that they are stakeholders in the government? That is why government can come out openly without shame to support terrorists in Yoruba forests. Let them come to our land and they will see. I know the game they are playing. There was this stupid video that is in circulation. You know that they can't attack ESN. They can't. They have no moral ground. But I'm sure they gave money to some idiots and gave them guns to say they are Biafran army. I don't know if they're up to 6 or 7 of them, which is a lie. It's a DSS creation. So they can have justification to say to Biden or the US ambassador, can you see they now have Biafran army? We can now move in to attack them. Anybody, if you are involved in that video, take a walk. You want to give Fulani Janja with the reason to invade our land. That's what you're doing. But we shall get to that later. Anybody involved in the circulation of that video is a gunner. I'm telling you the truth. And those that made it. That is how people behave because they don't understand the game plan of the Fulani. People are very foolish. Fulani will come to you and want to use you and you succumb because you have greed, envy, and jealousy inside you. Which one again is Biafran army? I'm asking you. From where? How many people? The day I will bring out the Biafran army, we number over 200,000 standing. Reserve is over 1 million. Some bunch of idiots somewhere, because you're serving your Fulani Janjaweed masters. We'll get hold of all of you. Check out Uno Oko. We know they're bad eggs when we see them. We warned people against voting for Buhari in 2015 when he was still alive. The same Buhari died in 2017. People, all of you know that Buhari is dead. Today he's young, tomorrow he's old. You see his hand is fresh today, tomorrow. Nobody knows who is who anymore. All of you are there, but because it's the turn of your village. Your brother is a senator. Your sister is a House of Reps member. You don't want to lose that money that is coming in every day. You come out on social media and you're talking rubbish all the time. Because you're a black person. You don't understand. There is something called economies of scale. Some of you cannot reason very well. You claim you went to school. Sometimes I wonder the type of lecturers you had in your useless schools that you went to. I wonder, honestly speaking. Because you and your family, you are benefiting. Somehow you think that life is okay for you. Because of the level, or should I say the poverty of ideas inside you. Any day your relative goes into the farm, the Fulanis will kill them. All you can do is to lament. Say things are bad, though, and you go and you sleep. And nothing gets done about it. It was I am very, very grateful to Almighty Elohim that the courage today that you have in Yoruba land is because of ESN. The courage of Amoteku to say no to Fulani is because of ESN. Because of Eastern Security Network. That is why they found the courage to say no to Fulani. If not, they will not do it. After all these years, without the should I say all these months, without the coming of ESN, as Amoteku said, we are going to flush out Fulani headsmen from our bushes. Never. It's because they saw us, they have seen us doing it. They said, oh, we might as well do the same thing as well. In order to it's called the pincer movement, to cut us off. They got some people, I don't know whether maybe in Olu or whatever, got them together, gave them, say, we are Biafran army, a few idiots. They are shooting guns, we are Biafran army. Inside somewhere. Did we tell you that we have formed the Biafran army? We said when we form it, the world will know that we have come. I don't hide anything. If you claim you are behind any useless group calling themselves Biafran army, show your face because I'm showing my face on video. I claim ownership of not ownership, of course. I can claim responsibility for ESN. Can you claim the same thing for Biafran army? If you claim you're a human being, that's to say it's all the handiwork of DSS. Mad people every idiots everywhere. Africans and lack of discipline. You don't have discipline. You don't have discipline. That was why the white man came and conquered you, because you lack discipline. After the white man must have finished with you, Fulani came from Senegambia, because you have no brain. Lack of discipline. Every idiot thinks they can lead. They don't know what leadership entails. Every monkey thinks, oh, maybe if we have it. Nobody is funding IPOB ESN. It's only IPOB that's funding it worldwide. If you think you can bring 2 or 3 people together with a few rifles, and because of that, you can start calling for funds, you are wasting your time. You don't know our people. They won't give you a dime. Fulani is making use of your brain. You cannot see it. They come to you, oh, why don't you fight Yoruba? Oh, Yoruba is against Igbo. Igbo is against Yoruba. Fight each other. The same thing they did in the constitution of Biafra land. They told Ogoniman, you're not Igbo. He said, okay, I'm not. Ija, you're not Igbo. No, I'm not. Oh, you're not Igbo. Some of them, of course, most of them are Igbo, they agree. No, I'm not. And I want to ask Ogoni people something today. Some of you don't understand the meaning of what is called divide and rule. You know, you read it, oh, divide and rule, they divided us. You don't want to put your brain behind it to understand what it means. You have no idea. When they ganged up with Sarawiwa to say Igbo man is our problem, today all that oil spill in Ogoniland, have they cleaned it up? I'm asking a question. Have they cleaned the oil in your land? Igbo man is your problem, yes? Have they cleaned the oil spill in your land? You are begging them to clean the mess that they made. How many of you own oil wells from Ogoni land? Igbo man is your problem. They want to conquer, they want to use Biafra to deceive us, to take our land, to dominate us. All of you crying about Niger Delta marginalization, all these years that you have nothing to do with an Igbo man. Have you survived? Have you survived? I'm asking you. Have you survived? Now, let me tell them something today they don't know. The free world, they have a defense, should I say, organization called NATO. Who are the leaders of NATO? The North Atlantic Treaty Organization that every civilized nation belongs to. Who are the leaders of NATO? It is the United States of America. Somebody must lead. It cannot be everybody. One person or a group of, they must lead. They must lead because they have what it takes. God gave it, made it so in the East that we are all related anyway, as one people, tied. That's why you have Igbo, indigenous Igbo people in Bayelsa, indigenous Igbos in rivers, indigenous in Delta, majority Igbo people. Everywhere, all the way to Igodomigodo, in Edo State, in Idu land. God made it so for a reason. The first revolution in Nigeria was led by an Igbo man, Nzobo. That is the way God made us. I can't apologize for it. Because if we leave you to do it, you cannot do it. In a billion years, you cannot do it. You cannot do it. Because you don't have what it takes to confront the Janjaweed. We do, you don't. With all due respect. Is Ogoni land clean? Do they have clean water? Do they have good schools? The same thing for Ijo. Ijo, do you have good roads and good schools? Good health care? No. They will put somebody in office for 4 years or 8 years. He will build one community center and say the dividends of democracy. As okay, whereas he's planning to relocate his children to Australia. Every day you wake up to the same rubbish. Every day you wake up. Every day you wake up to the same garbage. Day after day after day after day. And what is your response? The same thing over and over and over again. You go back now and say, oh, hey, I'm from Ishekiri. We are not part of what they're doing. And you accept. And look at your life and how miserable it is. You lament, you lament, you lament, but you don't have what it takes to make the much needed change. They say that all the government of Ondo State and others must draw a boundary. Where, who are the bandits and who are the law-abiding? How can we know? As I'm going there, my phone, when you make all the lizards, all the, you know, now lizard, their stomach is almost on the floor. So we don't know which one has belly ache. How do we know? How can you differentiate between a good headsman and a violent terrorist headsman? How can you know? How can you know? I'm asking you. Mietiala is there, remote controlling all your lives. Look at how they installed, after installing Hope, they installed the idiot Hope, George Obiozo. George Obiozo was the man that took Hope Uzodinma to the north to go and introduce him as a politician. The same Uzodinma that George Obiozo, he's an intellectual, as they, you know, the fools. Once they give you a degree, they say you're an intellectual. George Obiozo, before you took Hope Uzodinma to the north, did you know that Hope Uzodinma was doing 419 in Lagos? He was a fraudster doing Yahoo in Lagos. Who doesn't know in Imo State that Hope Uzodinma was a fraudster in Lagos? These are the type of leaders that they imposed on our people. Idiots. And we are there. They have Apex organization. Apex Ohanese. Apex. These are errand boys for the caliphate. That's why BBC is promoting him. That is why they're all promoting. That is what they have always done. Black people are like that. As I told you before, when the British came to stop the eastern advance of the French colonial forces in Benin Republic, in Badagry, basically in Badagry. You know what Britain did? They didn't go to England to go and bring soldiers. They went to Ghana. They recruited Ghanaians, black niggers from Ghana, to come and help them to conquer their fellow niggers in Nigeria. They didn't have to go travel very far. That is why I keep saying that the brain of a black man is his greatest impediment. You see, inside this brain, everything a black man is suffering from is here. Inability to reason. Inability to reason. It is the truth that I must tell you. Some may not like it, but of course I will tell you. You cannot, the presidency is telling, you cannot unilaterally push out headsmen. What are they doing in the bushes? In the forest? And they said it's to feed their cattle. Before the white man came, where were you feeding your cattle? Fulani? Where? What was your cattle eating then? They said it's climate change. Of course, it's a lie. You came from very barren, arid Sahel. No rain in Sahel for centuries. It didn't start today. You were able to keep your cattle, you drink the blood and you drink the milk. That's how you survive. Now, what are you doing in Ondo Forest? Our people cannot see because they are blind. People cannot see because they are blind. But we are here to open your eyes. We are here to open your eyes. The time now is exactly 4 minutes past 9. Sorry, we are 4 minutes. What am I? No, I think that is UK time. It is 4 minutes past 10. I'm looking at the UK clock. It's 4 minutes past 10 a.m. in the blessed land of Biafra, where we are under the bondage of the zoo because a few idiots want to be president of Nigeria. Because after that, then what happens? All of them killing themselves over Jonathan presidency. From the so-called Niger Delta or Yoruba that was dying because of Obasanjo presidency. Where are they today? They are still the ones crying that things are not okay. So you think as an Igbo man, if you're there for 8 years, somehow, miraculously, you will change anything? Ironsi tried and they killed him. Use your brain. It was meant to be Alex Ekwueme after Shagari. Buhari overthrew the government in 1983. Some of you don't know history. Rather than allow an Igbo man to become the president, they did a coup. Some of you need to reason very well. Obioso, you claim you went to school, you should be able to use your brain. Oh, can you believe it? People who are foolish, they cannot, because of the Nchonche wild chicken change they give you in Abuja. You don't have a house in Abuja because of that. You are going to suffer and die. Check there are mad people. You've not seen anything yet. You have not seen anything yet. At this point in time, let us take some questions. Then we'll continue. If you want to send us a question, please, I'm not going to take a direct call. I will call my secretary, and then she will be able to tell us precisely who is who are the ones asking the questions, and what they're. Go to Twitter and ask your question on Twitter. When you ask your question on Twitter, then I will be able to answer it live on air here. You can ask anything you like, and I will answer it. Can you hear me? Uchenna, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, go ahead. We are listening. Do we have any questions from people that will require my response?
Yes. First, good morning, and good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us for this Q&A session. And I'm going to start with question 1. Let's see. Okay. So question 1 is, good morning, sir. It appears that Oduwa is getting pretty hot at the moment and onward.
Your English is too American for us. So, you know, we are from the village. This English is too American. Please break it down. Raise your voice for me, please. Raise your voice and break it down for us, if you can, please. Because this grammar is too Americanized. This Akata is somehow for us that grew up in the village. Please go ahead.
Sorry. Okay. It appears that Oduduwa is getting pretty hot at the moment and onward. Is IPOB ready to offer moral and logical support to them?
Yes, and we have been doing so. We have been doing so, and we shall continue to do so. We want them, I want the Oduduwa to come out of their shell, to recognize that Nigeria is a mess, a recognition that Nigeria is a hopeless case, and come to fight for it. Not all the time the Fulani will give them something, as they promised Chief Obafemi Awolowo will make you the president after this and all that, and they buy into it. It will never ever happen. What we are saying to them is that they must come out and support what we are doing, and that thing is a referendum. Everybody must demand a referendum. That gives you a say in how you are governed, in how your children are going to be governed in time to come. And the only thing that can bring that about is the revolution. We start with the revolution, they will now, of course, they'll be forced to capitulate. And then after that, we have a referendum. There must be a referendum. So we are willing and prepared to offer them every support that they may want. Of course, anytime, any day. Next question, please.
Nigeria Army resigning. Some of them will send to ESN, acknowledging that they've resigned, but this is a lie planned by zoo government. My question is, how are we supposed to receive the resigning soldiers in ESN, because this is a plan of Nigerian government trying to send spies to ESN camps?
We have a very special recruitment and induction procedure that will root out every fake soldier or every unpatriotic soldier trying to join ESN. Is not going to happen. We have filters in place, and when the time comes, we will root out the bad eggs within them. But I must encourage them to continue resigning, because what you have is not an army of the nation. What you have is an army of conquest by the Janjaweed rulers of the zoo. And we must do everything we can to demolish and dismantle it. And please, can you give me the names of the people who are sending on all these messages, please? We need to know their names. We want to know their names, please. It's very, very important that we know who is asking all these questions, please, if you may.
Okay, let me get that.
Do we have any other question?
We do. So this is from Bucci Law. How can we inform ESN when we notice unusual moves in our beloved Biafra lands?
We are everywhere. IPOB family is in every village, in every nook and cranny of Biafra land. You don't even need to bring it to our attention. We will know already, even before you. Once we come across them, then we do the needful. You may not hear about it, but they will not disturb you anymore. We are working tirelessly night and day to make sure that our farmlands and our forests are rid of all these terrorists from the Sahel. And we are not going to rest until we have accomplished the complete eradication of terrorists from our villages and our forests as well. So you shouldn't worry at all. We know about them.
Okay. Kenneth Chinadu said, Oyendu, good morning. My humble question is this. Why do we have to congratulate Joe Biden when we know how shady his election is and how it portrays us as people seeking for favor from people, Democrats, who I think he wanted to say who has hatred for us even before we knew what they are?
He has been sworn in as the U.S. president. We have no choice than to acknowledge and recognize him. As I said before, as it is the case with the zoo, if you bring out a goat and say, this goat is our president, the world will have no alternative than to accord that very creature every privilege, every right, every respect due. Americans have sworn in Joe Biden, and he is the president of the USA, and that is the end of it. We all need to be politically mature in a way. Are we now saying that we have the right to intervene in U.S. electoral process? No, we don't. The same way that when Biafra comes, we will not expect anyone to dabble in or interfere in ours. Of course, we are going to conduct very free and fair elections, and we shall ensure that that is the norm. But when people produce their president, you don't have any right. I am not an American citizen, so I have no right to challenge the decision of the American people. It is entirely left up to them to decide. So for now, Joe Biden is the president of America, and we have no other choice than to go with it. That's how life is, unfortunately.
Okay, so the next question is from Marcus Graham. When we get Biafra for our American and Canadian Eastern brothers and sisters, how do we get them to fully invest when many aren't aware?
Invest in what exactly?
I'm not, he didn't really state it. Let me go to the next question.
Yeah. We need to know what the investment is all about. Because Biafra land is going to be run, we must acknowledge the importance of inward investment. I am an economist, so I understand all these things anyway. There's something called inward investment. And we'll try and do what sensible people do. Instead of having pig milk in Holland, bringing in pig milk to us, we'll allow them to have a farm, a dairy farm in Biafra land, where the cows will be milked, and that very milk pasteurized and processed and canned and distributed. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we know how to make Biafra land viable economically. They shouldn't worry about that. We know what we're doing.
Okay. This question is from Victor. How can we undo Ohaneze to help us get Biafra as regards to one of the points to be earned according to UN condition?
Ohaneze Ndibo, you mean? Mm-hmm. It's not just Ohaneze, there's also another useless group called Pandef. The thing is that Ohaneze can do whatever they like. How many people can they command? Have they issued any command before and they want to bet them? What have they done? See, people must ask themselves, what has Ohaneze done from inception till now? What have they done? I can tell you what Igbo State Union did. National High School, Aba, and all the rest of the scholarships that they give to people. Name one thing that Ohaneze has ever done before. One. And I'll support them. The answer, sadly, is nothing. They have done absolutely nothing, and they do not deserve the support of our people because they are useless. They are absolutely useless. All they do is like a Janjaweed club for Sabo. Janjaweed Sabo club. That's what they do. All they do is they sit down there and say, give us a name or somebody who can be minister. And that's what they do. Tell me one Ohaneze achievement. Nyamwo, they came and said, oh, I'll eradicate every police checkpoint and we'll do this and I'll do that. How did he do it? Didn't Nyamwo do it? Instead, checkpoints explode exponentially. They never accomplished any. Not one thing he said he was going to do did he accomplish in 4 years. That's how they want to be president of Nigeria. Ndara. Please go ahead. The next question, please.
Biafra Technology said, sir, why can't we just declare Biafra independent and start living on our own? If they bring war to us for that, then we fight it. And again, take the war to them, because how I'm seeing things in Nigeria is not ready to let Biafra go. We better take it now by fight.
Is the reason why you must do things in a particular way is because we are Republicans by nature. There are some things you will do and people will say, who did you consult? Who did you tell? There is a saying where we come from, which means no matter how small this animal is, it deserves a place at where decisions are being taken. No matter how small or how big we are, everybody, regardless of how idiotic the person's opinion may be, they are entitled to be heard. We are the original Democrats before any other race in the world. We are original Republicans, so you must be seen to carry the majority along, and that's exactly what we are doing. When the time comes, Biafra will quite rightly be declared, and our territories will be defended. That's what we are going to do at the right time. The consultation is ongoing. Everything humanly possible is being done to ensure that we do what is right. But right now, at this very precise minute, the time hasn't come, and we just can't declare Biafra now. The time is not right.
King Dawn, my question is, why the so-called Sabos fail to understand that IPOB is fighting to free our people from the slavery we are into? Thank you.
Because we are all black people, and black people do not reason very well. I've said that before. And I have also alluded to the example of white people using black people to conquer black people. That is the way we are. So there will always be saboteurs, but this year is the year of the great hunt, and we are hunting for them, and some of them are beginning to feel the heat as well. I'll give you another example. Look at today, for instance. We woke up this morning to a very shambolic, useless video being circulated of very horribly dressed human beings claiming they are Biafran army. Just somewhere saying they are Biafran army. That is how black people reason. because there's something wrong with us. But thankfully for IPOB, we are now able to get a majority of our people together, reasoning, should I say, properly, and pursuing one very unique outcome, which is our freedom. So there will always be saboteurs, but we are all going to defeat all of them, one after the other.
Okay. Oyikachi said, why are some influential Igbo leaders and business people not supporting IPOB? Some are even campaigning for Igbo presidency. And what is IPOB doing about that?
People are free to do whatever they like because they are not coming out openly to support Biafra because of their business interest, because they are selfish, because they do not understand what patriotism is, because also they were groomed by Fulani Janjaweed to do exactly what they are doing. That's the reason why they are the way they are. Our people, let me tell you something, everybody who was a multimillionaire after the war was a saboteur during the war. That's what they do. Everybody who was a multimillionaire immediately after the war was a saboteur during the war. It has benefited most of our people over the years, and they are continuing in that very vein, which is very, very sad indeed. Very, very sad indeed. That is why we need a revolution. And in a revolution, you cleanse all these idiots. Of course, I'm not going to say what will happen to them. There will be no more. That I can assure you.
Okay. Indu BC said, without reviewing plans, is there ongoing lobbying on Joe Biden administration on Biafra freedom? If so, is it already in motion? And second, the governor set up another security outfit. How do we intend to counter them?
First of all, the governors cannot and have never set up any counter security outfit in the East. That's number one. They cannot do it. They don't have the manpower, because my message to our people is very simple. Do not join them. As simple as that. Again, I'm not at liberty to divulge precisely what we are doing in respect of our ongoing consultation on Capitol Hill. That will continue. Some of you may know that we have retained the services of a very top consultancy firm on Capitol Hill, and that work is ongoing. I am not at liberty to divulge more than that. But what I can say to you is that after very many years of trying, the U.S. State Department have now come to realize that the Fulani intention in Nigeria is to overwhelm and conquer everybody. It is not about pastoralists and farmers having a clash. No, the Fulanis came to conquer, to pillage, to occupy, and to decimate, and we are not going to allow them to do that. And I'm very, very glad that the U.S. State Department, after many years of lobbying and at a very huge expense, have come now round to adopt our position on that very matter. And stay where you are and compass. If you have any questions to ask, please make sure that you send it via Twitter. Send it via Twitter. I think it is on my wall, if I'm not mistaken, or you go to my Twitter page or handle or whatever they call it, and you give us your question, and I will ask you, Chen, later on to try and read out some of those questions, the very pertinent ones. But today we are live, we are direct, we're letting the whole world understand this, and Nigerians in particular. The Nigerian youth that did us so, you made us proud when you came out for End SARS protests, but you're going to come out one more time. The Nigerian youths, prepare yourselves. You are going to come out again to try and defend your right to exist in the land of your ancestors. People talk about tanker explosions. I want to ask you this question. You know, a lot of people don't understand what the Janjaweed, the Fulanis have in store for us. Every time we hear about a tanker explosion somewhere, why don't these tankers explode in the north? Why are they not exploding in the north? I ask, why is it that all this gas explosion, these cylinders exploding and killing people doesn't happen in the north? That is to tell you that they know what they're doing. It's part of the coordinated attack to deplete the populations of the south, to make us become very fearful, and to make us easy prey for the taking by Janjaweed terrorists from the Sahel. Even those who supported the coming of this Janjaweed government, this terror organization, now it is clear to my Yoruba friends that what you have in Asorok is a terrorist organization masquerading as president, because there's no Buhari. Everyone knows that very well. There's no Buhari. What you have is a terror organization masquerading as presidency, now coming out to defend what is in effect indefensible. And it is very, very sad that we have the likes of Wike in River State. Pensioners are being owed money. Pensioners are being owed. There are no pensions, no money to pay pensioners. But he found 500 million to send to Sokoto. I told you about him and Tambuwal. He wants to run under PDP as vice president to Tambuwal. That was why he came and he emptied Obibo, sent people to jail in the north, and some of them were killed. And he's a so-called political leader. That is what we are facing. That is what we are being forced to endure, and that must come to an end. Some of you don't know what we're encountering on a daily basis. It costs us a lot of money to bring out our people once they are arrested or detained illegally. We are fighting, and we are spending a whole, load of money, to be honest with you, to try and get them out. And the judges in the East are not helping. Igbo judges are not helping. None of them are helping. Because they, like, for instance, in Imo State, judges are not being paid. So when they arrest IPOB family members, a judge expects to get his pay from there, which is very, very sad indeed. And that is why our people are being detained, and they're asking us to pay them money, which is very, very sad. These are people that have done nothing wrong. They've not broken any rules, not broken any laws, but they are being arrested at the moment, and our judges are not helping matters. And we don't want to be against them. We don't want to go against all these judges. No judge in the north is jailing proper terrorists like Mietiala. They are not in jail. Nobody's convicting them. But our own judges, I don't know what's wrong with our people. Our own judges will be there delaying and making life difficult for people who are actually fighting for their own freedom. And I must warn them that they are aiding the march of the Janjaweed terrorists into our territories. They are using us to make money. Our people must understand this. They are using us to make money. They are not paying the judges. Most of them have not been paid for about 6-7 months. So when you arrest an IPOB family member, that becomes a way for you and the police to make some money. And we are saying that that is blatantly wrong, and we can no longer accept nor support it. The reason why the march towards freedom has been delayed is because most of you think that the governors must be involved. The stupid Janjaweed groups like Ohanese must be involved. That's the mistake you're making. We outnumber them. The same way we outnumber Nigerian army by almost 100,000 to 1. If we want to make a change in our lives, we can make that very change. If we want, we can change it. If there is uprising in the East and the West and the Middle Belt, do you think that Nigerian army and police can have the numbers to quell it? Of course not. So that is why they will use the newspapers to tell you it's about ethnicity, it's about religion, to get into your mind. Once we come out, there's going to be a revolution. Once we come out again, everybody must hold their territory. Nigeria hasn't got the army to go around. Never. They don't have it. Their army is about 150,000 men. Peanuts compared to what they are going to confront. We must rise up and say that enough is enough. But there must be no criminality. Once you allow criminality to come in, then you have failed woefully. You have failed woefully. And let me also warn once again, there is no Biafran army. DSS can go and create whatever group they like. Give them guns, all of that rubbish, in order to justify an attack against ESN. But we are letting the whole world know that we have not floated any Biafran army. There is none. Anything you see is the handiwork of DSS. If anybody has the courage to float an army, then they should come out, as I did with ESN, to say so. I claim responsibility for the formation of ESN. Anybody that created or that claims that he or she created Biafran army must come out and also do so, because I know it's DSS. They can never, ever do it. They can never, ever do it. I don't know where they shot the clip. I have no idea where they shot it. I have no idea. But I can assure you that we are looking for them and we are going to find them because they want to provide a legitimate cover or excuse for the Janjaweed army to invade the territories of Biafra, and that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And on that note, we have come to the end of our broadcast this very day, and I do not know if we have any more questions to take. If people have actually decided to send in more questions, if they have done so, I want very difficult questions, please. I want difficult questions, please. But as I say so, please be minded. Note that there is nothing called Biafran Army. All we have is Eastern Security Network. We don't operate on the streets of our major towns. We are in the bushes, hunting terrorists. And they are feeling the heat, I can assure you. That is the only thing I want my Yoruba brethren to do. Do something that we are doing in the East, and we are all going to be free. And as we are doing it, our march towards freedom is going to come via a revolution. Spontaneous, across the board, middle belt, the entire South. Everybody is going to rise up to say enough is enough. If you don't do it, you will live in perpetual bondage. Uchenna, can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah, do we have any more questions?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Jessica, Jesse stated, "Good morning, sir. My question this morning is, since you said that you won't be the president or prime minister of Biafra when it comes,
yes,
is there any plans to get a Biafra government, or are you going to be the interim president until we get an elected government?"
No, I will not be. The Biafran people will choose who will lead them. They will decide. It's not for me to impose anybody on them. Biafran people will decide who is going to lead them. Because we are Democrats, we are Republicans, and we believe in what the entire public says, not a few individuals. Very, very important to understand that. Thank you very, very much. And on that very note, we have come to the end of this very broadcast this very day. In the coming weeks and days, there may be need or reason for us to come back on air to keep you updated. But for now, please bear this in mind. Anybody telling you about Biafran Army is working for the zoo, is working for DSS. Anybody telling you there is need for an army to march at this point in time, they are looking for an excuse to try to make our life difficult. They want the Janjaweed army in the bushes to remain, sorry, the terrorists in the bushes to remain, and we are not going to tolerate it. Thank you very much, all of you, for watching and for listening right across our platforms. From me, from here, it is still good morning.